Welcome back to Turn the Antenna, everyone. Today, we are going to be breaking down Season 2's Episode 7 of Interview with the Vampire. The episode commences with Louis' emotional telling of the abduction, torture, and trial of he, Claudia, and Madeline. The trio appears on stage in a show trial. Madeline has been placed in a trance of sorts as a gesture of mercy on the belief that she was unaware of Louis and Claudia's deeds in New Orleans. Claudia is fully cognizant, enraged, and defiant. Louis is, well, Louis. Santiago makes his opening statement, introduces the only witness in the trial, and the vampire we all hate to love but do makes his return. Charming, charismatic as ever, Lestat joins the cast of the show trial. And then we are given Lestat's account of he and Louis' problematic love.
Take us back to the beginning, if you will, of this story of butchery.
It's a story of love, not butchery.
Lestat enters but doesn't look at Louis. He begins with his lines, but provides an alternate account of events in regards to who was the initial pursuer of their romance. I completely love Lestat confronting that homophobe in the audience, and hopefully they grabbed him as the next human victim for the nightly play that they have, because he was completely out of pocket. We find out that Louis was warned what would happen to Claudia if turned at such a young age. But in Louis' version of her converting, he omitted the pleading and manipulation that he used to bend Lestat to his will. The pattern that I am now noticing that I hadn't observed before with Louis was that he uses Lestat's fear of loneliness as a weapon. And it is evident when we see him promise Lestat that he will not leave him if he turns Claudia. We also see that during a prior argument, when angered, he tells Lestat that he will be lonely forever. And he tells him this out of spite, to wound him. I realized that I came out of season 1 with the impression that Louis was walking around with a halo. No one's perfect, but I kind of had Louis on some sort of like pedestal. You know, I'm like, he's the sweetest, he's the kindest, he's the most gentle. But now we're seeing a different version of things. And Louis himself is confessing that, hey, the way Lestat said it, that's exactly how it happened. When he's angered, when he's hurt, he too can be manipulative, and he can possess one or two of those qualities we despise in Armand, that we hate in Lestat. And it just goes to show that they are all flawed. I liked that Lestat uses the trial to speak of his sorrows sustained by Louis' pain and guilt. He exposes his broken heart. His tears and ever so subtle defense of Louis on so many fronts reveals his true purpose at the show trial: to confront the love of his life and to seek penance for his contribution to their shared pain. The apology for the fight in which Louis was dropped. Lestat says, "I could not persuade him to return my affections. I could not force him to love me, and so I broke him." What is worse than that? Oh my gosh. I felt it to my core. This guy is such a great actor. Everybody deserves an award. The acting in this show is stellar. And it's just so refreshing to have a show like this in this day and age where you're made to feel. And you see the power of writing and good acting when the two come together, how they can persuade, how they can invoke an array of feeling. I just love this show. I just love it. I just love it. I love it. Claudia stands and speaks for a brief moment. Her heartbreak of Louis and Lestat's neglect of her is heard when she says that it was never about her. I have a theory, and I would love to hear you guys' opinion on it. I feel like there was some part of Claudia that wanted Lestat's acceptance, wanted his love. And when considering her past, her mom was not around, her dad cast her off to an aunt. The aunt was not really interested in her. I think that's what happened. So for her 14 years of life, she was neglected. Then she was brought into a vampiric family where there was a struggle for the attention of Louis. Louis loved her, but it seems as though he wanted her for his selfish needs as opposed to just loving her just because. That's revealed. That's basically what it was. And I think she slowly came to realize that, like Daniel said, she was a bandage for a broken marriage. And she was aware of this. Claudia is highly astute, right? And so I think, though, there was a part of her that wanted some of the affections that he had for Louis. She wanted some of that devotion.
Never been about me. I was just a roof shingle that flew off of your house.
Armand chimes in with his memory of the event, during which he was confined to a booth watched over by Sam. Can I just say how disappointed I am with Sam? He was my most tolerable Coven member. He seemed above the drama. So I'm like, this is a cool dude, you know? I was kind of bummed out at the fact that he had just so willingly crossed over to Santiago, but I guess he's just surviving, I guess. I think they're all the same. They're going to follow the strongest person. So it's that pack mentality. But yeah, completely disappointed in Sam. Madeline is called to stand so that she can receive her verdict. Madeline tells the audience and the Coven that her companion is Claudia. Her Coven is Claudia. And by doing so, becomes the only person to ever choose Claudia above all else. Claudia and Madeline are sentenced to death, but Louis is saved as Armand mentally takes control of the audience and is sentenced to banishment instead. Louis is then hauled away and stowed in the basement. Armand then details the last moments of Claudia and Madeline. The scene is that of lovers kneeling, holding hands, then clutched as the sun sands away their flesh. Claudia, ever the protector, tucks Madeline close to her chest as she sings the tragic tune of Baby Lou.
I don't like windows when they're closed.
The tune that foreshadowed her ending. While burning, she looks to her father, Lestat. The episode ends with Louis screaming in his coffin cell and Santiago picking up Claudia's dress among her and Madeline's ashes.
I don't like windows when they're closed.
This episode is titled I Could Not Prevent It. But in my opinion, Armand could have prevented it. He could have been truthful to Louis the moment the Coven gave him the ultimatum. He could have given Louis the choice to decide his destiny. Had he done that, Madeline and Claudia would have never returned to Paris. Also, Armand can stop time. When the entire Coven went out to dinner that night, do we not remember seeing the strength of Armand's power? He literally stopped time and all of the vampires dropped to the table. Could he not have done that at the show trial? Are they guarding his powers too? Come on, man. Let's be real about that. Let us be real. He could have done more. I don't care what anybody says. He could have done more. He wanted Claudia out of the way. I feel as though I did see some bit of remorse from Lestat in regards to Claudia, and he was definitely hurt when Louis was taken to the basement. But I don't think that he expected to feel so much remorse, so much empathy. I think those feelings were kind of tapped into just slightly when he saw Claudia burning, when he heard Louis screaming as he was being hauled away. I do think that those feelings from when they first started living as a family, that protectiveness that he had over them, that caring that he had for them, I think that kind of showed up slightly. right? He came there with a plan. I'm going to be here to confront Louis, to confront Claudia, and that's it. He did not expect that need for revenge, that feeling of resentment to be so easily wiped away. I hate to see the end of Claudia as a character. She showed us a unique perspective to vampiric existence that other vampires that we've known in vampiric law have not. I do believe that we might see her in flashbacks during season 3. Delainey Hayles, you bodied this role, babe. Bravo. I hope to see her in other movies, other shows. She is a great actress, and I'm so happy that we got to see her rendition of Claudia. Thank you for tuning in, and I will speak to you all in a few days.